Okay, the Rockdale County Planning Commission meeting dated October 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. is now being called to order. We will have the invocation by Mr. Danny Forrester. Let us stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us take a moment to pause and reflect. We ask for guidance and wisdom for all gathered here today. Grant us clarity of mind and purpose as we deliberate on the matters before us. Help us to work together respectfully, to listen with open hearts, and to seek the best outcome for our entire community. May our decisions promote the well-being and prosperity of all our citizens. Amen.
Amen. Now for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we have our roll call for determination of quorum. Start with myself. Dr. John Lee Peterson, Chair and Present. Melissa Yancey, Vice Chair. Okay, it's absent. Mr. Danny Forrester.
Here.
Miss Angelique McClendon.
Here.
Miss Ernestine Stovall Goolsby.
Here.
Okay, we have quorum. Okay.
Chair Peterson,
Yes.
before you approve the agenda, I would like to request that you all consider removing item R3 from the agenda because it was placed on in error. Items that are not a part of the UDO are not placed on this agenda.
Okay. All right. We call for a motion to remove item number 3 from the agenda. We need a motion.
I make a motion to remove item R3, text 2025-11 from the agenda.
Okay. Second.
A second.
Okay. So the motion to remove the item number 3 from the agenda the motion has been made by Ms. Ernestine Stovall Goolsby and second by Mr. Danny Forrester. Are there any discussions? Okay, the question for the adoption of the motion.
Chair Peterson,
yes.
you will be making an amendment to the agenda?
Amendment to the agenda, I'm sorry. The amendment to remove item number 3. Are there any questions or discussions? If there's no discussions, we'll go for a vote by saying aye. Those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Those not in favor, opposed, nay. Okay. Any abstain? The motion carries. This item will be removed from the agenda. Now we will proceed with the motion for the approval of the agenda. We need a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda dated October the 9th, 2025 for today's meeting. I make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Okay.
And amended. As written and amended.
Okay. Second.
Second.
Okay, the motion to approve the agenda for the amended agenda rather has been made by Ms. Ernestine Stovall Goolsby, second by Mr. Danny Forrester. Okay, are there any discussions? Okay, let's go for a vote on this. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, any abstain? This motion carry. The agenda has been accepted. Okay. We will now move to the rules of procedure for public hearing.
Each speaker must sign their name to the appropriate zoning case sheet and fill out a public comment card to register your intent to speak. prior to the start of this meeting. Each item of business shall be handled in order that it appears on the agenda, unless upon motion of the Planning Commission, the order is changed. A member of the planning staff will present each item to the Planning Commission and will further provide recommendation upon each item of business. The zoning applicant or the agent will state their name and address at the podium and will have 10 minutes in which to make his or her presentation. Any portion of their 10 minutes may be reserved for rebuttal following the opposition to the application. After the applicant's presentation, all registered speakers who wish to speak in favor of the application will then be heard. Prior to speaking upon the item, each registered speaker will state their name and address at the podium. They will also be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the applicant has made his or her presentation and the speakers in favor of the application have been heard, the secretary will then call upon the registered speakers in opposition of the application. The opposition shall likewise be limited to a total of 10 minutes. Once the public hearing portion is closed, no other speakers will be heard. As a reminder, speakers are to address the Planning Commission, not the applicant or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers shall be permitted. After all public comments have been heard, the Planning Commission may elect to hold general discussion. The Planning Commission will vote upon a recommendation that will continue forward to the Rockdale County Board of Commissioners public hearings. Each speaker must sign their presentation.
Okay, we'll now have the motion for the approval of the minutes.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, the motion for the approval of the minutes have been made by Ms. Angelique McClendon, second by Mr. Danny Forrester. Are there any discussions? Okay, all in favor of the approval of the minutes, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, those opposed, nay. Those abstained, the motion carries. The minutes have been accepted. Okay, there's no unfinished business, so we'll move to the new business on the agenda. The first item on the agenda is item R1,
Each speaker
REZ 2025-09. Purpose is to rezone 13.85 acres located at 2880 Southwest Highway 212 from C1 Local Commercial District to C2 General Commercial District for an auto zone commercial development.
Good evening, Planning Commission. I would first like to introduce myself. My name is Ryan Sadler, and I am the new county planner here with Rockdale County. I'm excited to be here. I have a passion for community development in all aspects. So I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know who I was before we proceed. So as stated, case number 2025-09, a rezoning request for 13.85 acres from C1 local commercial to C2 general commercial to convert a vacant restaurant and adjacent suites kind of located to the right. And we have some pictures in the slideshow so that you can see exactly what we're talking about, to rezone for an auto zone retail location. As you can see, this is the subject property. It's located along Highway 212 and 155. 138, my apologies.
Yeah.
My apologies. I'm still new. I'm still trying to, okay. And here is a zoning map of the subject property. It's currently zone C1. To the north, the zoning is C1 local commercial, and that is a fast food restaurant. To the east is AR, and there is a single-family structure on that property. To the south is R1, and that's a single-family neighborhood. And to the west, the zoning is R1, which is a single-family structure on that site as well. So this is the surrounding zonings. Here is the future land use map. The property is currently designated for commercial, so there was no flu amendment for this particular rezoning request. And here is the proposed site plan, or the condition site plan. And just a little background for this case. The subject site, 2880 Southwest Highway, 2880 Southwest Highway 212. The property was currently zoned C1 in December of 2001. And through that rezoning, the site was conditioned C1, and it was conditioned to the site plan, and also a letter of incorporated date of December 2001 for Rockdale County and the covenants therein. So the property, again, is built out. It has several parcels on the out parcels, and they also have some small retail shops located within there. Here is some actual site pictures of the site, and as you can see in the top right or left corner, that is the proposed suites where the Shane's Rib Shack would be converted into the AutoZone retail location, and kind of those 3 suites where you see those 3 doors will be where they will convert those 3 suites into the location. There is no changes to the overall layout of the site, the parking, or the building footprint. The rezoning is intended to allow AutoZone to occupy the space previously used as a sit-down restaurant. The applicant proposes to combine the 3 tenant suites. 2 of the suites are 3,000 square feet, and 1 of the suites is measuring 1,400 square feet, for a total of 7,400 square feet for the retail space. The exterior modifications will be minimal and limited to the storefront and signage updates for the new tenant, if approved. So there's some pictures. And this is just another case summary. As I mentioned, those 3 suites will be converted into the AutoZone retail location. Again, minimal exterior modifications. This site is currently built out where the Publix and the other suites are located. They do meet the parking requirements of 361 spaces. But for this particular use, they still do meet that parking requirement as well. And I believe they needed, I want to say, they met the parking requirement. And that is that. So for the technical reviews, fire, the proposed location has an existing fire sprinkler system, which is an added benefit, seeing that the proposed use will house various motor vehicle supplies. Any enhancements or modifications to the sprinkler system will be addressed during the formal plan review. So when they apply for that permit, it will be reviewed by fire. If the location will have a waste oil collection tank, ensure that the tank is double walled tank. The school board had no comment, or it doesn't impact anything related to the Rockdale County schools. Sewer, existing 16-inch DIP water main along Georgia Highway 212 Southwest, and the existing 12-inch DIP water main along Georgia Highway 138 Southwest. Public wastewater is not available at this site. Stormwater, based on the submitted rezoning documents, there is no existing state waters or wetland recommendations. Tree protection will not be required for this project. Again, this site is already built out. And transportation, the transportation department request for a traffic impact study will remain. So moving forward, based on staff's evaluation of the request, the planning department recommends approval with conditions of the rezone from C1 local commercial to C2 general commercial district, following conditions. No major or minor auto repair activities shall be permitted on the site except for limited services directly related to auto parts store, including batteries, windshields, wiper replacement, diagnostic testing, and light bulb replacement. No land disturbance activity allowed. Current stormwater management was met during the development of the plaza back in 2001 when they first came for the rezone. No overnight parking of vehicles, trailers, or delivery trucks shall be permitted on site. There shall be no dismantling of vehicles on premise to obtain auto parts, no outdoor display of parts, scraps, or junk vehicles. Batteries, used oils, and hazardous material must be stored indoors in compliance with the federal and state law. Number 8, the tenant shall provide spill containment measures, including but not limited to oil-resistant flooring, second compartment for, secondary containment for storage areas, and absorbent cleanup materials always kept on site. So if there's any type of oil spills, we want that to be addressed immediately. Number 9, no discharge of oil, grease, or other automotive fluid shall be permitted into the stormwater system, sanitary system, or the ground. The applicant must comply with all county regulations prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy. And last, the location will have a waste oil collection tank. Ensure that the tank is double walled tank. So those are our conditions, and that is our recommendation for this rezoning case.
These will be added to the existing conditions of approval.
Correct. And if there's any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer. And again, these conditions will be added on top of the previous conditions that were had when that first C1 zoning came in. Mm-hmm. So that still stands. So the condition to the site plan and the covenants will still remain. These are just additional conditions added to that. And then are there any questions for staff?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the pictures. That's good. It helps us to visualize. Because I was concerned about auto repair and everything, and you know how you have that neighbor that's running like a
Right.
auto repair shop out of the driveway. I didn't want it to look like that. Mm-hmm. But the limited services, I guess it's just carrying out of batteries. Not really. Will you see any? Will we expect to see any hoods raised in the parking lot? We should not see that.
Right, outside of the typical, battery replacement or anything, there shouldn't be any major or minor auto repair taking place. And I know AutoZone is very limited on what they do anyway. And the
applicant,
the requester is here, so she can speak to that. But that's kind of why we put some of these conditions in place to address that and make sure that's not a concern.
right? Because again, just I want to go grocery shopping and see cars propped up,
Right.
like some things. I did also have a question about the parking. I mean, it's a parking lot, but it includes other parcels as well, other businesses.
Correct.
So is this parking, basically the parking is adequate for its, for the business, but this is excluding the public's parking? Because I guess the concern is you don't want the AutoZone parking or customers to spill over to the public's parking, and then the public's, I mean, it shouldn't. It looks like it's enough, but what was the consideration there?
The site was approved. It was approved with 316 for the entire development.
Right.
And the Publix is included. It's all, basically, you look at, you have this many suites, and if you like the restaurant, that would have a higher, parking requirement than an insurance office.
Right.
And it includes all of the suites at the time. And the fact that it went from a restaurant to an AutoZone.
But it was a shame. I mean, it's not really
Yeah, but I mean,
crowded
still,
restaurant.
the
But they-
parking requirements are.
No, people are sitting
Or
in
less
Shane's
for
for 2
AutoZone.
hours.
Yeah.
You might sit at Longhorn for a couple hours, but not, you know. like
And
Shane.
again, and for the restaurant parking, there's a different parking calculation for that
Which makes
particular
sense.
use. And for this use, the parking requirement is 4.5 spaces for every 1,000 square feet of gross floor area. So kind of when we did the calculations for that, with the handicap included, they needed 36 parking spaces, which they met as far as the entire site is concerned.
I do it when someone comes in, a similar case, and you have a strip center, and a restaurant comes in, I make them tell me what's in every suite.
Right.
So I can recalculate, and like, well, you still need 20 more spots.
Right.
Where are those gonna be? So we do stay on top of the parking requirements.
Okay.
And then also keep in mind of the 2 additional suites that are being also consolidated, which you have to basically add those parking requirements for those additional suites that they're consolidating.
I have,
No, I'm done.
I have a couple of questions. Shane's had several break-ins. And that's one of my concerns, because in a park, and prior to, and I don't know if it's anything, but they had a lot of break-ins. They're in the shopping center. And if it's anything that from staffing, which you guys, I could be out of my perimeter, and you can state that I am, is anything from staffing that you may want to consider to include in here? Because I would think that this AutoZone definitely has more retail things that are more valuable than a Shane restaurant. And if it's gonna bring theft or promote theft, that's one of my concerns. And another one of my concerns, when I look around, there's through AutoZones, I've never seen an AutoZone connected to the shopping center. It's adjacent in a separate lot by itself, but it's not connected to the actual same building as the Publix shopping center. And it would be nice if they could develop it as a separate entity. And so they could see that all your lifting up your trunks and change your oil. Because normally when people come to AutoZone, they got problems going on. So it's nothing we got in here for additional corrosion of the parking lot. Those things happen in the AutoZone. If you go in the AutoZone, you look at the parking lot, it's totally different from a normal parking lot, because the oil eats up the concrete. There's some things we need to consider. That I don't think, and the theft is definitely one of my considerations on that backside of that Publix building.
Assume that AutoZone do some sort of alarm system. I would assume that AutoZone would have an alarm system, since they have auto parts. Because I would assume if
Could we make
someone's,
that a recommendation instead of an assumption?
we could add it
I
as a
think,
condition.
we should put some liability on that particular entity to have something in place that's more, that deters theft. Because theft definitely happens on that backside of that shopping center, and it's definitely happened more than once.
We'll add it as a condition.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff?
No.
Well, I just had a comment here. I know when I first went over this, first of all, I hate to see Shane's go.
It has been gone for a long
They
time.
closed that one and they closed the one in Covington, so we don't have a Shane's.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the concern would also be, my concern would be they're right close to that Publix having a AutoZone there. It just seems like if it was not adjacent and those suites wasn't there together.
And can you please speak into the microphone for me, please?
That if they were, wasn't adjacent, they're together, connected, that would be just those connected right there in the Publix right there was just a concern that I kind of had.
Well, I do realize there is a doctor's office in that kind of
Right.
section between them. And there's a distinct change in the architecture of the building also, because you have the area between them, and then you have the higher facade, and it brings forward for the AutoZone. So I guess architecturally, it's kind of separate, and it's all the way at the end of the shopping center. But if I remember from driving over there myself, there's not a lot of businesses in that shopping center.
It's a Hardee's that's separate. It's a separate.
But I mean, in the strip
entity.
center itself.
That's right, sort of like at the edge of the parking lot. There's a gas station.
Because that's a good point you brought up. There's a lot of issues that's going on in that public shopping center. And we definitely don't want to lose the grocery store because we bring in an auto zone. And I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't really want to shop next to an auto zone. I'm just sorry. I mean, I think about that. If it's going to spill over into the Publix eventually.
And again, this is all the way on the far,
I know exactly.
Yeah.
all the way on the far. So it really wouldn't spill. I mean, unless it's, a major event or something like that.
Just,
But
when you go around and travel around and stuff like that, if you even go over to 138 where you go to the Publix, you got a Mavis there, you got another thing, but they're not connected to the building.
Understood.
And, that's, I would like, and if the staff consider that, it's not connected to the building. It's a separate entity, it's a separate block by itself.
Yeah,
So.
I would echo that. I mean, that was one. I mean, when you mentioned that, that's a thought, and I guess this is more of a question for the applicant to talk about where the other auto zones. I mean, I'm thinking in my mind as I'm seeing auto zones and how many I feel like are
Or
separate
freestanding.
and not connected. That might just not be the case, and it's. I mean, they're not like liquor stores or anything, but the parking lots can get kind of messy when you're raising hoods and you're doing certain things. Basically, you're working on a car in a parking lot.
Well, if you look at the bottom picture, pointer's not working down there, sorry.
But yeah.
You've got the Publix to the far left, then you have a UPS store.
Yeah, and then you got the
a
beauty supply store,
then the doctor's office.
Right.
And then the building makes a turn.
It does. It curves around. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and then you can
My
see from the
Publix.
architecture, the change in the facade, and that's the AutoZone.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm very familiar with that
So
shopping
it's-
center.
it's
So that's
isolated
really
to
where
one
the
side.
questions come from. It's like, so will that change will that change that strip in a way that won't be a positive way just because it's there and it's not a. I mean, I guess
it would.
Mavis. If you think about the other Publix where there is a Mavis, but it's separate. I mean, it just doesn't seem like they're working on cars there because they have a whole garage where the cars are actually worked on. I just think about other AutoZone parking lots, and they're not well kept.
And that
Let me just
concern
put it
is
that way.
understood.
Yeah.
As far as it relates to the Publix, you are on 212 and 155.
Yeah.
So you're on a major
138.
I'm
138.
sorry.
No, it's
but-
212, 138. It's a lot of cars.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
so,
it
the
probably would
high
bring a lot
traffic
of-
count is
Yeah.
there, the visibility is there, so I don't see the Publix being affected heavily by the rezoning request for the auto zone. So you are located in a good spot as far as visibility for the Publix, so.
But from my point, I use AutoZone a lot, and I'm not familiar with one that actually has oil change and stuff with it. That's normally been a Pep Boys.
Right,
Or some
yeah,
other ones.
that's true.
This is just purely parts.
Retail.
Yeah, they don't do.
They do battery changes, they do wiper blade changes, and I just personally don't see them coming across the parking lot. They're gonna pull the car up, bring the battery out, and slip it in front of the store. And it's just some things you guys know that there may be a problem because you've tried to adjust some things. Don't leave the cars overnight. They can't stay overnight. They can't. Those are the things that you do when you come into an auto zone or something of that Pep Boys, O'Reilly's type junior. You come into that where they leave the car when they can't get it started. And it's something, of course you got things here to deter it, but we have to also have someone here to enforce it.
Yeah.
Well, just a second. These conditions will be on the shopping center owner to make sure that that they're not parking out overnight. That's going to fall on a shopping center owner because these are added to the existing.
What, is the shopping center owner here tonight?
No, but they're allowing this to happen.
So they're just allowing the retail space to be
You know,
rented
but
out.
This is
Okay.
going to be on
So,
them to
on
make
them.
sure it's done.
That's enough. So Okay, so you're re-guiding me or redirecting me somewhere else, so you're saying it's to the shopping center owner. So, well, then can, Rockdale County can't get involved into enforcing that these, cars that left overnight, they're pulled, then the shopping center owner gotta get Rockdale County, cause it don't become the tenant any longer. It becomes, the shopping center owner responsibility to
The
move these
shopping center
cars.
owner owns the parking lot.
Yeah,
And because this is a leased space.
it's
it's
lease
not
space,
owned.
yeah.
So it would be up to the management company for public plaza to make sure. And trust me, we don't have a problem telling code to go out there.
You say that again, what you just said at the, you don't have
We
a
don't
what?
have a problem calling code and telling them you need to go out.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We don't have a problem calling code.
Oh, I
'Cause
don't
we-
either, but it's like, we're here because we trying to deter why we won't have to call anybody, why they will keep it up, And I'm sad to see that the citizens of Rockdale are not out here, because it was a sit-down restaurant and that's turned into a auto zone, and nobody's here to really speak against it. And it's gonna be in the shopping center with their Publix, and, that's a concern.
Understood. All right. Any other questions for staff?
I just had one more question. So the rezoning here is the issue. So the rezoning, we're rezoning it so that the auto zone can go in there, if I'm correct. So if that's the case, that rezoning, how will that affect future use of that area?
So according to the future land use map, it was already designated for commercial. With the C1 zoning, it would, I had some notes here. For the C1 zoning, bringing it up to a higher category to allow for more uses. Again, it was designated for commercial. It didn't have like a specific or C1 or C2 as far as the future land use is concerned. So if anything, it would just allow more uses in that zoning district to be allowed for the entire plaza, and not just, it's for the entire plaza. So it would just allow for more uses. This current use of the auto retail sales, it was not a permitted use within the C1 zoning district. That's why the request came for the C2 zoning to allow for that.
I understand. Thank you for that clarification there.
So once it's rezoned, it's gonna remain C2, so it can go to other auto things
But
if
there's
it's,
other uses besides auto.
Correct.
It'll pick up some more uses.
okay.
All right, any other questions for staff?
Okay, if there's no more questions,
Not for staff.
Okay,
Okay.
and the applicant is here.
okay, thank you.
Are there, do you know if there are any business owners or any interested parties here to speak on this matter? Oh, I just asked. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'll let them run the show. I'm just curious.
Hello, my name is Teresa Curry. I'm with Access Companies, and I'm representing the developer and I'm the applicant. Staff did a great job explaining what our request is, and just to shed some more light, the developer is having a difficult time filling the tenant space. If you go out there today, you'll notice that there's a lot of empty storefronts, and that's one of the reasons is because C1 is so restrictive as to the users that can go in there. So they have an auto zone that's interested in going in the Shane's Rib Shack location, which if you look at the survey or the site plan, it is around the corner from the Publix and has its own kind of dedicated parking. And the developer does have to get Publix approval for new tenants, so they're aware of the auto zone and are not in opposition to that. Plus, C2 zoning is a little bit more applicable to this location. C2 zoning should be on major highways, whereas C1 is more like a neighborhood commercial where there's a lot of walkability. this type of facility is suited for C2 zoning. I don't know if you have any questions that I can shed light on, but I'm happy to answer them.
Just give us another example where there's an auto zone that's in a shopping center of such nature, that you guys, if this in this metropolitan area.
I'm sure that I could find some or get them to you, and I can provide them to staff. I don't know of any off the cuff, but there is no auto repair. There's only sale of parts and replacement of parts. So there's no one's there for more than 30 minutes. They're just either swapping out their battery, replacing a light bulb, or their wipers. There's no actual auto repair that occurs here.
Okay. I mean, because were you aware that theft has been in that particular location where the tenant's interested in putting his business? You are aware of that, right? I mean, because, it needs to be something to deter theft eventually if they're going to put an auto store.
Do you
That's what
know
I
if
was
the
thinking.
break-ins happened during business hours, or was it after hours?
I just saw the glass broke down on several different occasions, so we may be after hours.
Okay. I don't know how or where they are, but we are
I think
certainly.
it was robbed one time too, so it was reported in the Rockdale Citizen, so yeah.
Okay. We have no opposition to a condition being applied that the site is alarmed. Obviously, it's just better for everybody, for-
Cameras, alarm, just more so than
Sure.
alarm, because the police should help. You don't want to bring theft and bring,
Yeah, no one
because
wants
it's
that.
still a neighborhood, and like you were
Correct.
just saying, it's C1, C2, but those are still homes up
Yes.
and down 138.
Yeah, absolutely.
Up and
No,
down 212.
we'll definitely incorporate additional safety measures.
So AutoZone itself are going to be responsible for ensuring that no repairs are done in that parking lot or anything like that, as far as parts being removed off cars or anything like that. So have they specifically said how they're going to manage that or how they're going to enforce that?
Their typical customer isn't coming for a repair where their car is going to break down and be left in the parking lot. But if we need to add enforcement language to their lease, we certainly can do that as well. But literally, they're just there to sell the battery and the wipers. They do assist them if they need help. If they need assistance putting on their new wiper blades, they do go out and help them. But they're not there to fix a car that is going to break down.
Would you say you're a similar business to O'Reilly's? Would you?
Yes. Yeah, like they don't have bays, where you pull in and get your
Yeah,
oil changed or anything like that, so.
But the O'Reilly on Salem Road, if we took a site visit right now, it got
Has broken down
yes,
cars.
yes. If the O'Reilly's on 138, if we took a site visit right now, my husband think he's a side mechanic. That's why I know. So, I've been to these parking lots. I know what's in them. I know what goes on,
Right.
They lift the hood up and see, can they fix it? They go back in and get another part because that part didn't work. They're not, they just, they do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and the owner is very conscientious, and no one wants their property to have these broken down cars sitting there unattended, or theft, or any of that. So they're certainly open to any of these conditions you apply upon them. It's just they're just kind of desperate to get more users into this space, just because they're having a hard time attracting people to come.
Okay.
Just one more comment on that. I do understand that part, that you do not want that they're desperate to get the suites filled, but at the same time, I just feel like there's certain businesses, especially when we have like Publix and we have different customers that are coming in, they are being exposed to certain things and seeing certain things, and the other concern is whoever that may draw other people in that area, what other people that's going to draw in that area. That's just a concern that I have, that I just feel like you go to Publix because it's supposed to be more upscale area in there. So you want to go where you would feel safe, and you shop in there, and so that environment in there, bringing that AutoZone in there, I think would kind of change that neighborhood somewhat. Just saying that for the record. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Chair Peterson, we do have a couple of people that want to speak in opposition.
Okay.
The first speaker is Sandra Holly Starr.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Holly Starr. I'm actually a business owner in the shopping center, and I'm opposed. I just learned about the AutoZone yesterday. We don't want that type of clientele. We don't want that type of business. We don't want that clientele. And when she says O'Reilly's, I only know AutoZone, but I live in DeKalb. Most of your AutoZones in DeKalb have cars out there. They're working on the cars. If you're going to AutoZone, she says they're going to pick up a wiper blade, they're going to AutoZone because they're going to get their car repaired. I like the L1. I like the neighborhood. I like the calmness. I have been in that neighborhood since it opened. So I am one of the first tenants within Smyrna Crossing and have been there ever since. I don't have plans on leaving, and I definitely oppose an AutoZone. I want new development. I want something there. I love to see something there, but definitely not an AutoZone.
Okay. Thank you.
The next speaker is Gregory Philip Curtis in opposition.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Greg Curtis, and I've lived at 2784 South Park Boulevard, and I live at 2784 South Park Boulevard, which is just across the street from the Smyrna Crossing Plaza. I'm here to speak in opposition of rezoning 2880 Highway 212 from C1 to C2. Some of my earliest memories as a child are going to AutoZone with my father to work on our family vehicles. Even today, I'm a faithful AutoZone customer for projects big and small. I also frequent the businesses located at 2880 Highway 212, sometimes walking, sometimes driving. My wife and I are small business owners and faithful customers of the UPS store, where the Stars are our owners. Having 3 daughters, I'm in Natalia's beauty supply store far too often. And I'm also in Publix probably more than so many people who work there. Even though I'm a loyal AutoZone customer, one would not fit this property. Even though signs prohibit it, I challenge you to find an auto parts store that does not have people in the parking lot working on vehicles. Also, the added motor oil runoff would negatively impact the Honey Creek watershed, which sits about a couple of thousand, maybe half a mile down Highway 138. Rezoning this parcel to C2 will also make it possible for other businesses that do not align with the character of the neighborhood to open in the same property. Businesses like flea markets, pawn shops, used car dealerships, without having to return to this commission for approval. On top of my previous points, a brand new freestanding AutoZone just opened up south of this parcel, about 10 minutes, just over the county line, just over the Henry County line, across the street from the Kroger on Highway 20. There's also an existing AutoZone that sits about 10 minutes down Highway 138 that's been operating for as long as I can remember. Ladies and gentlemen, as an 8-year homeowner in this neighborhood, I respectfully ask that you deny this request to preserve the local character of this family-oriented plaza. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, we had one more speaker in opposition, Mr. Gregory Starr.
Okay.
Good afternoon, council. Well, I been in that same shopping plaza with my wife, and I have personally been the guy that has been the personal security in that whole plaza for 20-some years, and I can not only tell you the type of stuff that I've been running into when it comes down to just abandoning cars and people, not only abandoning cars, just getting people out there working on cars. I've had a guy pull his whole fleet of vehicles up there. I'm in strong opposition to that. That is not, I mean, I'm a business owner, not to hurt anybody's feelings, but that is not suited for what they're really trying to do. But just having people, me having to have to go there as a merchant to get the sheriff and everybody involved with trying to get trucks and vehicles removed there has just been more than a hassle for us as a business. So I'm in strong opposition to that. I've visited AutoZone. We have one just a mile away. So I don't really see a necessary need to crowd our particular zone with that type of clientele. There again, we have different type of people that come down from all walks of life. Don't have a problem with the AutoZone, but your biggest problem that we're going to have is just trying to control. People got cameras. People come in and make all kind of promises. Guy was telling me like, well, man, I'm only going to leave my vehicle here for just a day or two. Next thing I know, I got 3 or 4 fleets of semi trucks and everything. Then they come out there and lay down on the ground, changing housing and everything. No problem with what they're trying to do, but I'm just saying I am not looking to look up in the morning to see people just coming in and out of there. Like she said again, what they will be doing, changing parts. We go to AutoZone, it's not that far away, so I don't see the urgency of putting one just right there on top of everything. So I'm in strong opposition, council, to us opening up something of that nature in that particular neighborhood after being there that long. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no more discussions on this matter, we'll move this item for a vote, for discussion and vote. Item R1, RZ, EZ 225-09. We need a motion to rezone 13.85 acres located at 2880 Southwest Highway 212 from C1 Local Commercial District to C2 General Commercial District for the AutoZone commercial development.
I make a motion to deny item R1 REZ 2025-09. My reasoning for denying this particular request is because of I would like to keep it a family shopping center for C1. I just know the history of what AutoZone does, and I'm not sure if that's a particular climate for a family grocery store. I understand everybody needs clients, but you got homeowners in the neighborhood, and you already see that there possibly may be issues with bringing it because the conditions that are added to the particular request. And I've asked this, and it's always said, was the responsibilities on the manager of the complex instead of the tenant. Based upon those type of answers, I recommend that we deny. I recommend that this is denied.
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion for denial by Ms. Ernestine Stovall-Goolsby for denial of the rezoning. We have a second by Ms. Angelique McClendon. Okay. Are there any discussions? Okay, we'll take this to the vote. All that are in favor of the motion to deny the rezoning, state by saying aye.
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 Those that oppose by nay. Any abstain? The motion to deny the rezoning of 13.85 acres located at 2880 Southwest Highway 212 from C1 Local Commercial District to C2 General Commercial District for in auto zone commercial development has been denied. The motion carries for the denial. Okay. Next item on the agenda, item R2, text 2025-1. The purpose, text 2025-08 to amend the text of subpart B, Planning and Development of the Code of Ordinances of Rockdale County, Georgia, as amended so as to amend Title II, Land Use and Zoning, Chapter 218, Use Regulation, Article 5, Telecommunication Facilities, Section 218-22Q, Application Requirements and Standards to provide for repeal of conflict and provisions, to provide for an adoption date, and for other purposes.
All right, I'm going to keep this real quick and simple. This is part of the, now that we've updated the fee schedule, that's what this is, that's what this text amendment does. It updates the fee in Chapter 218, Use Regulations, Article 4, Telecommunications, Section 218, 22Q. And in order to cover the actual cost to Rockdale County of reviewing these applications and obtaining expert opinion and studies, the following fees are hereby established for those telecommunication facility applications requiring administrative approval. Previously, this is me, a fee of $500, that has now been raised to $1,250, shall be paid at the time of the application. For telecommunication facility applications requiring a special use permit, a fee of $1,000 is the old fee, is now $1,750, shall be paid at the time of application. If the actual cost to Rockdale County is greater than this fee, the applicant shall be billed for the difference and a payment shall be made prior to the hearing before the board. In no case shall the maximum total charge exceed $3,000. That stayed the same because that is limited by state. Are there any questions?
Are you at liberty to give any background as far as?
No, we're just updated the fee schedule. That's all this is.
Yeah, okay.
There's nothing.
Just trying to see
you
if
know.
it came out of something in particular, but yeah,
So
that's fine.
I'll just give you a little bit of information. Last month, we went through a exercise and updated a vast list of our fees, because they were, behind. This is also one of those things where as we go through and update the UDO, and bring some things up to standards, this was one of those areas that we looked at that had not been touched in a matter of years.
And also, because this is in subpart B, it has to go straight, you have an input on it. So before it goes to board. The one that got removed is in part A, and it goes straight to DOC. So,
Thank you.
any other questions?
No.
Okay. If there's no other questions, we need a motion for text 2025-08 to amend the text of subpart B.
That's right. I think it's the item R2.
R2. Okay, a motion.
I make a motion to approve item R2, text 2025-10. I make a motion to approve. I'm making a motion to approve because it hasn't been changed in a while, and expenses, administrative expenses have increased for Rockdale County, and it's a way to add up some costs, to cover some costs that you guys come into play. So I recommend to accept this change based on that.
Okay, second.
Second.
Okay, the motion to amend the text of subpart B of Planning and Development of Code, Ms. Ernestine Stovall Goldsby has made the motion. Mr. Danny Forrester has second. We'll take this item for vote. All of those, are there any discussions on this item? All in favor of the approval to amend the text for subpart B, Planning and Developments, state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose by saying nay. Are there any abstain? The motion carries to amend the text of subpart B, Planning and Development of Code Ordinance is passed. Okay. Final item on the agenda tonight is item R4, text 2025-12. Purpose is to amend the section 206-10, O/I office institutional district by adding E, maximum building height 85 feet, excluding rooftop mechanical equipment for zoning district in question.
All right, back in April, early April, during the transition to our new director, we went ahead and updated the height limits on M1 and M2. Well, we missed O&I. So that's basically what this is doing. By doing this, so for this, we're raising from 50 to 85. And this will allow for greater density in office institution areas. And, you know, if you can build a taller office building, that's more people in one spot, and it increases the density of office uses in other institutions. And that's also just brings it in with M1 and M2, so they, you know, allow for more employment, I guess, is basically it. Add more jobs.
Let me ask, like, if you're saying you had a building with 3 floors, there would now be 4 floors. If you had a building with 2 floors, then there'd be 3 floors. I'm just trying to get a
Well,
visual.
you know, the thing about buildings is the height of a floor can be different.
Different, okay.
So, I mean, 30 feet may not necessarily be a 3-story building.
Okay.
It may be a 2-story building, and the first floor is, 18, and you got 12 for the other one.
So nothing in Rockdale right now is going to be 85. So we're changing it to be 85.
Not that I'm familiar with.
Okay.
So this would probably be around 6 to 7, maybe 5. It'll be in that range.
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to be 10, because even 100 foot is not really a 10-story building. More like 110 or 120 is a 10-story building, depending on the first floor.
Okay. So we're just changing.
Yes, ma'am, just giving them the opportunity to go higher.
If they can get more in one space than office space, that'd make the property more valuable too, pretty much. Okay. All right. Okay.
And I don't think we have a lot of office uses
Just that, yeah.
around here of,
Right.
larger office.
Yeah, I was gonna ask has there been any interest
Yeah.
in building taller buildings in Conyers?
We're hoping, because that's what I was talking to them one day about, we have all this granite underneath us. Why can't we build taller buildings in Rockdale? That's what New York, Manhattan is built on, a big slab of granite. That's why they can go 100 floors, is they have a good base. They drive into the granite and up it goes. So why can't we take advantage of that in Rockdale?
This would be something Rockdale should market, to get some
Hard as a rock,
businesses
yeah.
in.
Well, as you can, it's probably evident, I think this commission seems to like quality over quantity,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But we need jobs. We have other things cooking. So any other questions?
Okay, if there's no other questions, we will go ahead. We need a motion to amend section 206-10 institutional district by adding E maximum building height 85 feet, excluding rooftop mechanical equipment for zoning district in question. We need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
okay. The motion has been made by Ms. Ernestine, Danny Forrester, to amend section 206-10, and Ms. Angelique McClendon, was it? That's, Ms. Gooseby, I'm sorry, has,
This time.
has second,
Tag team.
okay? So, any discussion on this item? Okay, let's take the item for vote. All in favor of the amendment to section 206-10, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Any abstain? Okay, the ayes carry. This motion carries and have been approved. Okay. That's it for our agenda for tonight. And so, if all hearts are clear, we need a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to end this meeting, October the 9th, 2025.
Second.
We've had 2 seconds. Okay, the motion to adjourn has been made by Ms. Ernestine Stover Gooseby, seconded by Ms. Angelique McClendon. This meeting is adjourned.
And happy, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, because we
Yes.
won't see y'all till January.
Yes.
Oh, we're 2 months off.
Deck the halls with